Today, our Miami Marlins can hypothetically advance to the World Series. We currently have a 2-0 lead in the NLCS over the Phillies. We're going to play games 3 and 4 today and try to finish this series out quickly. We won the first 2 games at home, taking game 1 by the score of 2-1 in extra innings with a walk-off home run by Rhys Hoskins in his first playoff game back from injury and a great start from Edward Cabrera. In Game 2, the offense played really well. Bo Bichette homered twice. He also homered in Game 1. Sandy Alcantara had his best start at the playoffs, which doesn't really say a whole lot, but he pitched well enough for us to get the win. The team has a ton of momentum. We've only lost 1 game through the entirety of the playoffs. The offense has had their ups and downs, but I think our Game 2 performance was far and away our best offensive game of the entire playoffs. The pitching continues to be fantastic, but we're not going to have Edward Cabrera or Sandy Alcantara pitch today, so it'll be interesting to see what happens here in Games 3 and 4, especially with this being on the road and obviously must-win games for the Phillies. As it stands now, we are on pace for a Florida World Series. The Rays lead the Guardians 2-0 in the ALCS. I certainly don't want to jump to conclusions on either series because there's a lot of baseball left to be played. But if it were to hold up, we could have an all-Florida matchup in the Fall Classic. But right now, we've got to worry about getting past the Phillies first and foremost. So if the Marlins win both games today, we'll be going to the World Series. And if not, then we'll be continuing the NLCS in the next episode. It's a rainy one here at Game 3 at Citizens Bank Ballpark here in Philadelphia. Games 3, 4, and if necessary, Game 5 will be held here in Philadelphia. Tarik Skubal will be pitching for the Marlins. His first playoff start was not a particularly good one. We're hoping his second one can be a little bit better. Let's see if the Marlins can get the job done on the road just as they did at home as we take a look at both lineups and we take a look at the young righty Andrew Painter getting the start for the Phillies. 4.05 ERA in 2 postseason starts. Painter's developed into a really solid arm in this rotation. He's their number 3 starter behind Buehler and Wheeler, but they believe he can be the ace of the future. Bo Bichette up with one away, and he slices this one up the middle. It's bobbled at second, but Bryson Stott is able to make the play. Bo Bichette, one of the big stories of Games 1 and 2, he had 3 homers in those games against the Phillies. Let's take a look at Tarik Skubal, who has the lone loss for the Marlins in the postseason so far, allowing 5 runs in 4 innings against Atlanta. Trey Turner into left, it's caught. Luis Robert, what a play to snag the first out. Robert looks better than ever. Coming back from his injury, he missed the entirety of the wild card round and the NLDS, but it looks like he's playing his best ball at the right time, now fully healthy. Justin Crawford goes down looking on the slider. Good pitch by Skubal. We'll see if he can retire the side. Facing off against Bryce Harper. He hits this one perfectly into left field, beating the shift to a T, and that'll go for a double. Bryce Harper plays at his best in the month of October. He homered back in Game 2 against the Marlins. Obviously, it didn't matter because they lost, but hey, a homer's a homer. Rhys Hoskins looks to drive him in. He rips a single into left. Harper holds up. That's a smart call. Robert launched a cannon to the plate. The throw was offline, but I think it got there fast enough to where Harper would have still been out. Full count for Randall Grichuk. He grounds it to short. Bichette fields it cleanly, and he throws him out. So Skubal does allow 2 late hits, but the Phillies are unable to score anybody as we don't have any offense through 1. Into the second, Woody Landry hitting a whopping 100 in the postseason thanks to 2 hits in Game 2 with a grounder to second. What a play by Bryson Stott for the first out of the inning. Incredible defense by Stott. Nick Fortes is up now. He obviously had a disappointing regular season, but here in the playoffs he's looked quite good. He'll take a walk, and the Marlins get their first base runner of the day. That'll bring up Jesus Sanchez, who started off kind of slow in the playoffs, but I feel like he really has started to perform better as it's gone along. Hits it sharply to first. Rhys Hoskins tags the base, and the Marlins don't get anything going here in the second. The Marlins have had trouble starting games strong offensively, and so far that again appears to be the case today. Bryson Stott here in the bottom of the second flies out to right. 1-2-3 inning for Skubal. As we move into the third inning, 2 away for Luis Hoskins. He rips it up the middle. That'll go for a base hit. first of the game for Miami, and we'll see if they can do anything here with Bo Bichette, who has dominated against the Phillies up at the plate. Count is evened up at 2-2 with a runner aboard and 2 away. Pitch from Painter, and he fooled him on the outside slider. Fields it cleanly, gets the out at first, and the Marlins offense scoreless through 3, coming off a really strong performance in Game 2. Hao-Yu Lee leads off the bottom of the third, and he will lead it off strong. Rips it into right field. De La Cruz makes the catch at the wall. What a play by Brian De La Cruz, basically running into the wall as he caught it. Justin Crawford strikes out on the sinker. That's 3 scoreless for Tarik Skubal, who looks really good so far, a lot better than he did in his first playoff start against the Atlanta Braves. Let's move into the 4th inning. Game remains scoreless. Jazz Chisholm leads it off for Miami. He's had a pretty strong postseason for the most part as he hits it over to short. Trey Turner with a backhanded throw. Not in time. It's an infield single. Good hustle for Jazz Chisholm, and the Marlins have one of their faster players aboard to start the inning. Here's Woody Landry. Big swing and a miss on the changeup. He's frustrated with himself, and so that'll bring up Nick Fortes. Drew a walk in his last at-bat. We'll see what he can do here with the count even at 2-2, and he's going to sky this one into right field. Did not really get that on the sweet spot at the bat, as it will be caught by Bryce Harper. So through the middle of the 4th, we still have no runs. Is that going to change here in the bottom half of the inning as Rhys Hoskins is up for the Phils? And Hoskins launches this one into right center field. That ball is long gone, and the Philadelphia Phillies are on the board first here in Game 3. A solo home run for Rhys Hoskins, his 4th of the postseason, and the Phillies lead it 1-0. Randall Grichuk now, liner to third. Good play by Jacob Berry to snag that one, robbing him of a base hit. JT Realmuto checks his swing. I don't think he went around, but I guess that pitch was in the zone. The Phillies do score, though, off of a solo homer by Rhys Hoskins to make it 1-0. The Marlins will look to respond here in the 5th, and the respond they might have just did. Jesus Sanchez into the opposite field. That ball is gone! We are tied at 1. Jesus Sanchez with his 2nd home run at the playoffs. So the Phillies get one and the Marlins quickly get one right back. Big play for Sanchez. That'll bring up Jacob Berry now. He swings at a pitch in the dirt. Realmuto tries to get to it quickly, but the throw to first is offline. So it'll be an E2 on Realmuto despite the strikeout. And now the Marlins have another runner on base. That'll bring up Brian De La Cruz, who has not had a good postseason really at all. He strikes out on the changeup, Painter's 4th of the game. 2 away now for Bo Bichette. Hasn't really done anything today after his big games 1 and 2. Flies it into center, but it is caught by the Phillies. So Jesus Sanchez ties the game up with a homer. We're knotted up at 1 going into the bottom of the 5th as Nick Castellanos rips this one down the line and fair. And the Phillies open up the bottom of the 5th with a base hit. The offenses took a little while to get going, but could this be the start of an offensive entourage for the Phillies or for both teams? Bryson Stott into left field. It is caught or not. It looked like Luis Robert caught it. Now they're going to rule it a base hit. When I went to check the replay here, it really looks like Luis Robert caught it. I don't see where the ball ever hit the ground. Robert had an excellent diving catch earlier in the game, and I think he had another one here. The ball telepathically went through his glove. Weird. But it never hit the ground regardless. Nonetheless, it's a base hit for Stott because this game is brain dead. Hao-Yu Lee is going to sacrifice bunt the runners over. And now there's 2 runners in scoring position with 1 away. What an opportunity for Turner, who hits it hard to third. Jacob Berry makes the play. 2 down. Huge opportunity now for the young outfielder, Justin Crawford, the son of former MLB All-Star Carl Crawford. Count is full, 2 in scoring position. Crawford hits it well into right. Arise cannot make the play. 1 run scores, and a second will join. It's a 2-run single for Justin Crawford, and the Phillies are back on top. They lead it 3-1. That'll bring up Bryce Harper, who strikes out. Good inning, though, for the Phils. They take 2. And I imagine this could be the last we see today of Tarik Skubal. So the Phillies lead at 3-1. They get 2, and now it's time to see if the Marlins can answer back. Jazz Chisholm leads off the sixth. He's ahead 3-1, and he'll take a walk. So the Marlins get an early base runner. Jazz reaches for a second time today. And from there, Painter will be taken out of the game. Overall, I thought Andrew Painter had a pretty good start. He'll be replaced by Griff McGarry out of the bullpen. He'll face off against Luis Robert, who's played some great defense out in left field today. And that's going to be a wild pitch. Jazz Chisholm will safely make it over to second, and the Marlins now have a runner in scoring position. They've got to capitalize and drive him in. There's no excuse to not get at least one run in this inning. Full count for Luis Robert. Hits this one well into the gap. That'll score the run easily as it one hops off the wall. An RBI double for Luis Robert, and the Miami Marlins bring you within one. And not to mention, the tying run is in scoring position with nobody out. You've got a great opportunity now to tie the game or maybe do even more damage. 2-2 count here for Woody Landry. Hits it hard up the middle. That'll go for a base hit. Luis Robert will score. It's an RBI single, 110 off the bat from Woody Landry, just his fourth hit of the postseason. And the Miami Marlins have tied it at 3. The Phillies get 2 in the bottom of the fifth. The Marlins respond right back, and they're not done. Nick Fortes singles into center, and there's nobody out, by the way. The Marlins started the inning with a walk, and since then they've gotten 3 consecutive base hits. Here's Jesus Sanchez, who homered in his last at-bat. Hits that one in the left. That'll go for a single. The run will score. Nick Fortes safe at third, and it's now 4-3. Jesus Sanchez with his second RBI of the game. Griff McGarry is getting absolutely rocked. Jacob Berry now hits it hard over to third. Lee bobbles it. The throw to first is in time, but another run scores, and it's now 5-3. So McGarry's taken out of the game. He allows 4 hits, then finally gets an out, and then is yanked for Alex McFarlane. He'll be taking on Brian De La Cruz, who struggles with runners on base. We'll see if he can try to break the struggle here. He does not. Instead, he chases the outside slider for the second out of the inning. Good pitch by McFarlane. That'll bring up Luis Ariz now. Hit in his last at-bat. Another hit. Probably scores the run. And, well, he hit it. He didn't hit it well, but I guess he hit it. It's a pop fly into the infield, and Hao-Yu Lee comes down with it. Quite the big inning, though, for the Marlins, who went into it down by 2, and now they're up by 2. The Marlins needed to respond, and boy, they did. So Adonis Takadopoulos is in the game now. He takes one off the shin from Randall Grichuk, who's safe at first. Takadopoulos allowed a double. That clip did not save, and that runner is safe at third. So there's runners on the corners, and Takadopoulos is hurt. He took one hard on the shin, and he's going to have to be removed from the game. So he allows 2 hits, and then he's going to be yanked for Reynaldo Lopez, who's allowed 1 run in 4 postseason innings so far. Lopez has got to pad the bleeding. The Phillies have a really good opportunity to respond quickly. Real Muto gets that one over the glove of Luis Ariz. 1 run scores. Real Muto is going to dig in for second. It's an RBI double with 2 runners in scoring position. Nobody out, and the Phillies make it 5-4 with the tying run on third and the potential leading run on second base. Castellanos with a sharp grounder to third. Berry makes the play, but the run from third scores, and we are tied at 5. This lead is being passed around like a blunt. Hao-Yu Lee up with 2 away. He will hit this one sharply into left center. Jazz Chisholm under it to make the play. It's been a very eventful past couple of innings. One team takes the lead, and then the other immediately responds. We could be in for quite the exciting ending. Grab your popcorn, get comfortable. It's about to get good. We're tied at 5 going into the 7th. Luis Robert with 2 away hits it sharply up the middle. Another base hit for Luis Robert, who continues to play excellently here in the playoffs since coming back from his injury. So with 2 away, the Marlins get a runner on base. We'll see if they can potentially get this lead back. I know Woody Landry's had his postseason struggles, but a hit right here would be pretty nice. Full count, he takes a walk. That works too. So the Marlins get 2 runners aboard and a huge opportunity for the catcher, Nick Fortes, who's had a pretty good game here. We'll see if he can come up clutch with the count even at 2-2. Pitch from McFarlane. Fortes up the middle, splits it right between his legs. Robert will score. Woody Landry to third is out, but Luis Robert scores successfully. It's an RBI single for Nick Fortes, and the Marlins lead it 6-5. As we go into the bottom of the 7th, it's time for the back end of the bullpen to clean this game up for good. Dylan Tate is in for Miami. He will start off against Trey Turner, who strikes out on the slider. Good pitch to start the inning. Turner now 0 for 4 on the day. That'll bring up Justin Crawford next. Hits it sharply to short. Bo Bichette cannot make the play, and that'll go for a single. You can't allow too many base runners. Both of these teams have finally started to do well with guys on base. Crawford looks to steal second. Harper flies it into right. Back at the track, at the wall for the lead. It's caught by Brian De La Cruz. Now that was a close call. The Marlins are lucky that one did not have an extra few feet of carry. So that'll bring up Rhys Hoskins. He's been awesome today. A triple shy of the cycle. He gets hit number 4 with a single into center. That'll keep the inning alive for a little bit longer. The Phillies have 2 runners on. What an opportunity for the number 5 hitter, Randal Grichuk, who hits this one sharply deep into center. But it looks like Jazz Chisholm will be under it to make the catch, and the Miami Marlins hold on to their lead. It's 6-5 with 2 innings to go. In a must-win game for the Phillies, can the Marlins spoil the fun here at the bank? Jesus Sanchez leads off the 8th, and Sanchez crushes this one into right field. Jesus Christ, have yourself a day. What a performance from Jesus Sanchez, his 3rd homer of the playoffs, his 2nd of the game. In his last 3 at-bats, he's gotten hits in all of them, and he's driven in runs in all of them. The Marlins now lead at 7-5. What a game from Jesus Sanchez. Brian De La Cruz hits it up the middle. McFarland with a great play to get the out. He's still in the game after allowing the homer as we go bottom 8. Let's see if Camilo Doval and Devin Williams can shut the door. We'll start with Doval against JT Realmuto. That looked like a strike, but JT gets the call. Couple pitches later, again, that one kind of looked like a strike, but the umpire behind the plate isn't going to give it. Full count now, and this time they're going to call a strike. Realmuto goes down looking. Bryson Stott now swinging a miss on the cutter. Camilo Doval does his job, and the Marlins lead by 2 going into the 9th inning. Miami's 1 inning away from taking a 3-0 series lead. Connor Brogdon checks in out of the bullpen for the Phils. He'll face off against Jazz Chisholm. He's had a solid day today, reaching base twice. 1-2. Jazz hits this one sharply into right center. This one's going to roll all the way to the wall, and Jazz Chisholm's in scoring position. He's going to look to actually head for third, and he is out of there. The Phillies gun him down. Jazz Chisholm chooses to be aggressive, and it backfires. Luis Robert up now. Hits this one sharply into right, and it is caught by Bryce Harper. So the Phillies know the deal. They've got to score 2 off of the shutdown closer, Devin Williams, who's perfect in save opportunities so far in the playoffs, being 4 for 4. He's allowed just 1 run in 8 innings. Not exactly the guy the Phillies probably would want to face off against. We'll see if he can close the door for good. We'll start with Hao-Yu Lee, who strikes out on the cutter. There's 1. 2 more. Trey Turner flies it into left. Luis Robert to the warning track. Slow to get to it, but he makes the catch. That's 2, and we just need 1 more. The Phillies are down to their final strike. It's Justin Crawford, who's behind 1 and 2. With the game and possibly really the series on the line, Crawford hits this one into the gap, and the Phillies are going to stay alive a little bit longer. Crawford in scoring position as he makes it over to second with a double. And the Phillies have a runner here on second base. The tying run is up at the plate, and it's Bryce Harper who lives for these moments. And Bryce Harper comes up big into right center field. That one is gone. We've got a new swing of a lifetime for Bryce Harper, and this game is tied at 7. Unbelievable. Harper with his 5th home run of the playoffs, and the Marlins are not going to close this one out, at least not in regulation. What a swing here for Bryce Harper, the biggest home run of his career. I know everyone's going to point to that one against the Padres in the NLCS a few years ago, but I think the significance of this one is bigger. If this ball does not go out of the ballpark, the Phillies lose this game. They go down 3-0, and from there, you really don't like their chances, but now they're all the way back in it. Hoskins strikes out, and through 9 innings, we do not have a winner. A 2-run blast by Bryce Harper ties it at 7, meaning that we will be entering extra innings. The Marlins are 2-0 so far in extras here in the postseason. No stranger to extra baseball. We'll see if they can get the hat trick and win their third extra innings game. Connor Brogdon still in for the Phils as he strikes out Woody Landry. Nick Fortes is up now. Fortes hits this one high and deep into right center field. Back at the track, it's gone! Solo home run for Nick Fortes, his third of the postseason, and the Marlins are back ahead. It's now 8-7. This game has been unbelievably exciting, and it continues to be here in the extra innings. Carlos Rodriguez is in for the Phillies. He allowed the walk-off to Luis Robert back in Game 1, and now it's up to him to try to close the game. Gavin Lux strikes out on the inside fastball as we go bottom 10. A.J. Puck is the only real reliever left in the Marlins bullpen. The Adonis Takadopoulos injury kind of threw off the scheduling, and everybody had to pitch an inning earlier than they should have. So Puck will start with Randall Grichuk. Grounded to short. There's one. Close play. And the Marlins need 2 more to win the game. They couldn't finish the job off in the 9th inning. Can they finish in the 10th? JT Realmuto hits this one high and deep into right field at the track at the wall. It goes off the wall. Brian De La Cruz completely misplays it. What on God's green earth was he trying to do? It's a triple for the former Marlin, JT Realmuto. A sacrifice fly could tie this game. A base hit could tie the game as Castellanos hits it into right field. Brian De La Cruz makes the play. Run looks to score with the game on the line. He is safe, and we are knotted up at 8. What a play here for the Phillies. They get JT Realmuto to score, and now Stott bounces it over to first. Landry tags the base, and we are going into an 11th inning. Both teams score in the 10th. We'll see if the Marlins can get back here in the 11th. Bo Bichette with 2 away, 2-2 count. Grounds it up the middle, and the Phillies will make the play. Bo Bichette was dominant in the first 2 games against the Phillies. Today, though, 0 for 6. Not his night. The Marlins get nothing going in this inning, and now the Phillies can hypothetically walk it off. Hao-Yu Lee starts with a grounder to second, and Gavin Lux misses the throw. They're going to call that a base hit. I think Lee is out, if not for the bad throw, so I think that's a bad call. Trey Turner now into left field. That's going to drop. That could end it. Hao-Yu Lee will look to round third and head home. The throw to the plate from Luis Ariz is not in time, and the Philadelphia Phillies walk it off. 9-8, your final score here in 11 innings. What a thrilling playoff game. Obviously, it sucks that the Marlins lost, but looking at it from an unbiased perspective, that was an awesome baseball game. The lead was being passed around left and right. I like pitching duels. I think they're fun, but truthfully, it does not get much better than this when both offenses are trading punches, but it's the Phillies who outlast. I feel like both of these teams had multiple opportunities to close out this game. Miami in particular. They had the Phillies down to their last strike twice in the bottom of the 9th, and then in the bottom of the 10th as well. If not for Brian De La Cruz kind of misplaying that fly ball, the Marlins easily should have won the game. The offense started slow, but they really picked up the slack. 12 hits, 3 walks. We obviously drove in 8 runs. Jesus Sanchez was phenomenal. 3 for 5, 2 homers, 3 RBIs. Nick Fortes, 3 for 4. He went deep. The pitching was up and down. Tarek Skubal was The bullpen was not great. I don't entirely blame A.J. Puck, though. The run in the 10th was scored off of a bad defensive play. The run in the 11th inning was also scored after the bad defensive play. So I don't think he's the one to blame. But the Phillies offense certainly played well. 16 hits. They had no trouble getting guys on base. Rhys Hoskins and Bryce Harper went deep. Harper obviously had the big one in the 9th. Their pitching also was not very good, but their offense was able to hold them up enough to get the win. This was the best performance our offense has had in the playoffs, and it was wasted by an awful display of pitching. So Adonis Takadopoulos is obviously going to be fine long-term. We weren't expecting some big injury. As that'll bring us into Game 4, a pivotal game. The Phillies now have some momentum. They just won Game 3, which was unexpected because we had multiple opportunities to win the game, and we did not. Just one night later, the weather here in the city of brotherly love is so much better. Clear skies, perfect weather for some fall baseball. The Phillies are going to be rocking their throwback powdered blues today as well as part of their throwback Thursday. And we'll see if the Marlins can take a 3-1 series lead. So unfortunately, no matter what happens, the Marlins will not be advancing to the World Series today, but we can position ourselves very nicely to do it in the next episode if we win this game. Here's a look at both lineups. No Brian De La Cruz for the Marlins. He is going to be on the bench. He might show up later in the game. Who knows? So Taijuan Walker will start to the Phillies. He allowed 4 runs in 5 innings of his first postseason outing. Not great, but he's a good veteran pitcher. He's been around the block. The Phillies trust him a lot. And he'll face off against Bo Bichette, coming off a dreadful 0-for-6 performance. Bo looking to pick it up, and he starts off strong quickly with a base hit into center field. As we saw in Game 3, the Phillies offense can get going with the snap of the finger, so the Marlins got to set the tone and score early. Jazz Chisholm rips this one into right field. This one with one hop off the wall. Both runners on their high horses. Bo looks to score. Jazz looks to make his way over to third. And both players are safe. It's an RBI triple for Jazz Chisholm. And the Miami Marlins lead at 1-0 here in the top of the first. Big start for the Fish, but hopefully they're not done. Luis Robert, big swing and a miss. That was a nice sacrifice opportunity, and the Marlins are not going to get it. Now they're going to need Woody Landry and his 118 batting average to potentially drive in the runner. He does not. He swings and misses at the fastball. So Taijuan Walker allows an early run off of an RBI triple by Jazz Chisholm. As we move into the bottom of the first, we take a look at Eury Perez making his second career postseason start. His first one was really good. We didn't want to over-pressure him. He only pitched 3 innings, but he looked really solid. And that kind of poses the question, if he starts off well again today, do the Marlins give him more of a workload? Let's find out. His day will not start off great. Trey Turner gets a base hit. Bichette blocks it. But with Trey Turner being as fast as he is, Bo is never going to make that play. So that'll bring up Justin Crawford. Had some big hits in Game 3, but he grounds it right over to short. And the Marlins turn 2 with a 6-4-3 double play. That'll bring up Bryce Harper now. Had the big homer in the 9th inning. He strikes out. Good start here for Eury Perez. The young guy continues to not look overwhelmed by the moment. Into the second inning, Nick Fortes drills this one into the opposite field for a base hit. I said the Marlins needed to set the tone offensively, and they are doing exactly that. Gavin Lux is up now. Can't fault him for not swinging at that pitch. Taijuan Walker paints the corner perfectly. Let's go bottom 2. Rhys Hoskins coming off a huge game with 4 hits. Gets another one here, ripping a single 113 off the bat into center field. So the Phillies start the inning with a base runner. We'll see if this is where they can potentially try to get something going. JT Realmuto into left center field. Jazz Chisholm trips on himself. I tried to have Jazz Chisholm jump to catch the ball, but he tripped. It's an RBI triple for JT Realmuto, his second triple in as many games, and the Phillies tie it at 1. Brandon Marsh now rips it into left field. That'll score JT. And the Phillies take the lead. It's 2-1. So now Eury Perez is showing his first signs of vulnerability here in the playoffs, and it doesn't look like it's going to get much better. Hal Yuli perfectly bloops this one into right field, and that's going to go for a double because no one's able to get to it quick enough. I get that Woody Landry had to cover first if necessary, but I feel like he should have maybe tried to make a play there, or Gavin Lux, and not put it on the outfielder. Bryson Stott draws a walk, and the bases are loaded. Eury Perez just looks lost at the moment, and it's not going to get any better. Trey Turner singles into center, 2-run score. Turner's going to make his way over to second, and it's 4-1. This inning very quickly has exploded into one big giant disaster for the Miami Marlins. Perez is going to be taken out of the game. He looked completely overwhelmed in that inning, and he'll be replaced by Max Meyer, who's only pitched in 1 postseason game so far. He pitched 3 scoreless innings, though, as Justin Crawford hits this one well into center. That's more than enough room to score the runner off of the sacrifice fly. And the Phillies add to their lead as it's now a 5-1 ball game. As if things couldn't get any worse. Am I right? We'll see if Max Meyer can get out of what has been a horrible inning as Bryce Harper grounds it to first. So the Phillies bat around and they score 5 here in the bottom of the second. And they positioned themselves nicely. We'll see if Miami can respond as Jazz Chisholm hits this one well into right. And that one's going to bounce in the corner. Jazz is going to look to make his way over to 30 at a triple in the first inning. He's not going to get another one. He is out of there. Good defense there by the Phillies, started by Bryce Harper, as now that'll bring up Luis Robert. He's going to hit this one well over to short, and that'll go for a base hit. I don't know if that would have scored Jazz Chisholm had he stayed at second, but if nothing else, there'd be a runner 90 feet away from home. So Luis Robert is aboard here for Woody Landry. He grounds it up the middle. That'll go for a base hit. So Jazz Chisholm, we now can say, definitely would have scored had he held up at second. Sometimes it's good to be aggressive, and sometimes it backfires, clearly. 2 on, 2 away. Big opportunity for Nick Fortes as he grounds it up the middle, and Taijuan Walker makes the play. With the Marlins already being down by 4, you cannot allow to leave runners on base. They got 3 hits in that inning and scored nobody. Bottom 3, here's Real Muto to third. What a nice play by Luis Ariz, and then Woody Landry does the splits. Great defense there by Miami. Jesus Sanchez up here in the 4th, coming off a big Game 3. He's going to continue his hot stretch with a base hit into right field. In Game 3, Sanchez homered twice, he drove in 3, and he had 3 hits. He was a big reason why the Marlins' offense was so good to begin with. Gavin Lux bloops it into center field. That'll go for a hit. Sanchez looks to make it to third, and he's out of there. What a great tag by Hao-Yu Lee. I think he would have clearly been safe. Good throw as well by Brandon Marsh, but I feel like Lee deserves a ton of credit there for applying such a quick tag. Now the Marlins really don't want to put the ball on the ground, and Yandy Diaz does exactly that. 4-6-3, inning-ending double play. The Marlins have 5 hits in the last 2 innings and have 0 runs to show for it. Now, luckily for them, Max Meyer's keeping him in the game. He's been dominant ever since he came out of the bullpen as Bryson Stott flies out to center. Meyer has pitched 5 2/3 innings here in the playoffs in 2 separate outings. He's not allowed to run. He has looked dominant, and he's not even allowing base runners to begin with. Into the 5th inning, here's Jazz Chisholm with a dribbler. Taijuan Walker makes it through inning number 5, as the Marlins still only have 1 run, despite the fact that they have 9 hits. That's more hits than they got in some of their wins. Bryce Harper is going to extend the lead here for the Phillies as he homers into right field. It's now 6-1. Max Meyer allows his first postseason run, let alone home run. Bryce Harper has now gone deep 6 times in the postseason. That's 3 consecutive games with a homer for Harper. And the Phillies are going to continue to get base runners as Hoskins draws a walk. Real Muto now grounds it to short. Bichette will make the play at first, but the Phillies add another run with a homer by Bryce Harper. It's now 6-1. Miami's in some trouble. They've got to clean this up. The lefty Bailey Falter comes into the game here, replacing Taijuan Walker. We'll see if he can potentially get multiple innings out of the bullpen as he faces off against Nick Fortes. Crushes this ball into right center. No doubt about that one. Back-to-back games with a homer for Fortes, his 4th of the postseason. And he continues to hit the ball really well here in the playoffs. So the Marlins get one right back, and it's now 6-2. That'll bring up Jesus Sanchez. Another base hit for him as he singles into the opposite field. Jesus Sanchez has historically struggled against lefties, but he really improved in that area this season, and it has carried over into the playoffs. It doesn't look like he's going to score, though. Gavin Lux flies it into right. Harper makes the play, and it remains a 6-2 game. Domingo Germán will come out of the bullpen for the Marlins. They used all of their regular relievers in Game 5, so they want to minimize using them if possible, as Castellanos rips this one down the line to start things off. It is an interesting strategy by the Marlins to bring their line reliever Germán into the game because he can get multiple innings, and you don't have to waste your other reliever's arms, but on the flip side, it is only a 4-run game. You're not entirely out of it, and presumably you'd rather the other guys in the game, and that decision may have backfired because he allows a run. It's an RBI double for Bryson Stott, and the Phillies now lead at 7-2. Trey Turner strikes out on the circle change, so both teams get 1 here in the 6th, and it'll remain a 5-run deficit. Still a lot of damage control for the Marlins to do. Yandy Diaz here in the 7th hits this one into the gap. That'll go for a hit. If nothing else, the Marlins are starting to get some base runners again. They're starting to try to put themselves in a position here to win. They have 12 hits. They're not losing this game because they're not getting guys on base. That's not the issue. It's that they're really struggling with guys on base, as seen by this Luis Ariz double play. Bottom 7, here's Harper. 3 homers in the last 3 games. Might have just got another one. He sure did. Bryce Harper with his 2nd homer of the game. His 4th in 3 games, and his 7th of the postseason. Bryce Harper has dominated the Miami Marlins here, and I don't know how Miami can keep pitching to him. So Dylan Tate will replace Domingo Germán. The Marlins are going to start to use some of their good relievers who just pitched yesterday. Interesting strategy, down by 6. We'll see if it pays off. Real Muto rips it to third. Good play by Luis Arraez. The Phillies add to their lead, though. It's now 8-2 as we move in to inning number 8. Bailey Falter stays in the game. Woody Landry hits it hard. Throw to first in time, and that'll wrap up a quick 1-2-3 top of the 8th inning. Really not looking good anymore for the Marlins. They're down big, and the Phillies are going to look to keep it going. But How You Lead grounds into an inning-ending double play. Good job by Dylan Tate to quickly get out of the inning as it remains a 6-run deficit going into the 9th inning. Bailey Falter still in the game, looking to finish it off here against Jesus Sanchez. He hits this one well into right field. Back at the track, it's gone! The Marlins look like they're going to lose both of these games today, but certainly not to the fault of Jesus Sanchez, who finishes with 3 hits in both games 3 and 4. 3 homers accumulated in the 2 games. He's now at 4 home runs in the playoffs. The guy is played out of his mind today, and it's unfortunate that the Marlins are going to completely waste it. Sanchez 2 for 2 against lefties today as well. That's pretty cool. Speaking of lefties, Gregory Soto is in the game, and it looks like he's going to finish off the job. Yandy Diaz with a pop fly into center. It is caught by Brandon Marsh, and the Philadelphia Phillies have really made this a series. The Marlins thought they were in control, in the driver's seat coming into the episode. They had only lost 1 game in the entire playoffs. Well, this is awfully a rude and humbling moment, and quite the awakening for the Marlins, who lose 2 in 2 very different ways. Game 3, we honestly should have won, but we blew it, and then Game 4 was never really close since the 2nd inning, and we've really got to look ourselves in the mirror heading into a pivotal Game 5 on the road. The offense hit the ball well. 13 hits today. We got guys on base consistently. We just couldn't do anything with guys in scoring position. Jesus Sanchez and Nick Fortes continue to perform well, but nobody else on this team is clutch. Yuri Perez was not good. The bullpen, they weren't horrible, I guess, but once Perez allowed the 5 runs in the 2nd inning, that was a death sentence for us because we didn't score 5 runs through the rest of the game. Taijuan Walker was good. The bullpen, obviously, it was more than solid to get the job done. And it really looked like we would be in position to win this series, but the Phillies have made it interesting. It's now a best of 3. We've got to win 2 of the next 3. We've got a lot of pressure on ourselves. Can the Marlins get the job done? With Edward Cabrera on the mound in Game 5, they'll have Sandy Alcantara on the bump at home in Game 6. We'll see if the Marlins can get the job done. I hope everybody enjoyed the episode despite the 2 losses. The first game, if nothing else, was really fun. The second game, maybe not so much. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.